Honestly, probably the most fun I've ever had.
Wow. What we just saw at Talladega might be the moment everything changed for Cleetus McFarland in stock car racing. He came within inches of grabbing his first official NASCAR-sanctioned win, finishing second in the Alabama Manufactured Housing 200 after one of the wildest last-lap battles ARCA has delivered all season. And after weeks of people questioning whether he really belonged on a superspeedway stage like this, Cleetus answered in the loudest way possible, by nearly winning the whole thing. He crossed the line just 0.111 seconds behind Andy Jankowiak, with Gustine right there in third after leading laps, making huge defensive blocks, surviving the chaos, and putting himself in position to win it all on the final straightaway. This was not a lucky top five where attrition handed him a result. This was a real, aggressive, elbows-out fight for the victory at Talladega. And for someone many still viewed as more YouTube personality than race car driver, that finish completely shifts the conversation. Final lap itself felt like pure Talladega madness. One lap to settle everything. One shot. Cleetus restarted fourth and somehow put himself right back in the middle of the fight. By the time they came off turn 4, he was side by side for the win, banging doors, trying to force just enough space to clear ahead. For a split second, it looked like he might actually pull it off. Then everything changed.
Before the green flag even dropped, the weekend already had a strange setup. Weather wiped out normal qualifying, so the field was lined up based on owner points instead. That meant Cleetus had to roll off from 20th place instead of getting a true qualifying shot. Not exactly ideal for someone trying to prove himself at one of the most unpredictable tracks in racing. Still, he showed up in a way nobody could ignore. The bright lime green number 30 Ford with the Mr. Sam spray wax sponsorship was impossible to miss. Loud, flashy, and completely on brand for Cleetus. It looked like something built to stand out on social media and on the racetrack at the same time. Fans noticed it immediately. And honestly, it fit the whole energy of the weekend perfectly. And yes, the criticism was still hanging over him. Not long ago, Kyle Petty made headlines by basically saying if all someone brings is internet fame, they have no business being in NASCAR. That was clearly aimed at the type of driver people thought Cleetus was. A guy with a huge audience, sure, but not someone ready for serious racing. Talladega made that argument look a lot weaker.
Because from the start of this race, Cleetus was not hanging around the back trying to stay out of trouble. He moved forward quickly, sliced through traffic, and settled into the top 10 before the first caution even flew on lap 30. By the halftime break on lap 41, he was already running second behind Gio Ruggiero. That is not survival. That is racecraft. That is understanding the draft, knowing when to push, when to lift, and how to keep yourself in the fight without getting swallowed by the pack. And honestly, seeing that jump happen so fast, from let's just survive to this guy might actually contend, was surprising even for people rooting for him. At that point, it stopped feeling like a fun Cleetus side story and started feeling like one of the biggest racing stories of the weekend. Then came the restart that turned everything into something unforgettable. During the competition break, his team was talking him through restart strategy, trying to help him maximize that front row opportunity. They were coaching him on how to launch, how to time it, how to maybe steal control of the race. Cleetus responded in the most Cleetus way possible. He said he loves nothing more than a good old-fashioned drag race. Then the green flag dropped. He went door to door with Gio Ruggiero, got a huge shove from Daniel Dye, and surged ahead to lead for the first time in his ARCA career. And when he realized he was actually leading at Talladega, his reaction said everything. He screamed over the radio, completely overwhelmed, pure emotion pouring out. No polished PR voice, no sponsor script, just raw disbelief and adrenaline. He was yelling about living the dream, about how lucky he felt, about how insane the whole moment was. It sounded like someone who genuinely could not believe this was his life. And honestly, that was the moment fans fully bought in. Because racing fans can spot fake emotion from a mile away. This was real. It was messy, loud, and completely authentic. It felt like a guy living the exact moment he had imagined for years. But Talladega never lets a story stay simple. Cleetus did not just take the lead and cruise. He had to fight for every inch of it.
He led, lost the lead, got it back, and kept surviving restart after restart while the pressure kept building. At one point, he reclaimed the top spot, and the crowd absolutely erupted. But things got messy fast. In one intense sequence, he got locked onto the bumper of the car behind him during a push and ended up turning Jake Finch while battling near the front. Somehow, there was no caution. You could feel the race getting more unstable with every lap. Then came the wreck that changed everything. Will Kimmel was pushing Thomas Annunziata on the outside lane when Annunziata got turned down into Ruggiero, and the big one exploded. Cars were flying everywhere. Smoke filled the track. Talladega chaos in full force. Cleetus barely escaped it. One of the drivers who did not was his friend and fellow YouTube personality, George Squirrel Siciliano, better known to fans as Squirrel. His day was over. That part gets overlooked because of how dramatic the finish was, but it mattered. Cleetus and Squirrel had brought that whole shake and bake energy into the weekend together. It was not just one guy trying to make a statement. It felt like a whole movement. Losing Squirrel in that wreck meant Cleetus had to instantly switch from emotional reaction right back into race mode. That is not easy, but Talladega does not care. After the red flag and another delay, everything came down to a one-lap shootout. Just one lap. Cleetus restarted fourth. Kimmel briefly grabbed the lead, then faded. Dean and Cleetus split him, and suddenly Cleetus was right back where he needed to be, fighting for the win. Coming off turn 4, Dean and Cleetus were side by side. They touched. They nearly wrecked. Both cars lost momentum just enough, and that tiny hesitation opened the door for Andy Jankowiak to rip around the outside and steal the victory. That is where the heartbreak lives. Because losing by over a second is one thing. Losing by 0.111 seconds in a final corner drag race feels completely different. It feels like you had the trophy in your hands for half a second and then watched it disappear. That is why this hurts. Not because second place is bad. It is actually massive for Cleetus. But because this was one of those rare races where you can literally point to the exact frame where the win slipped away. To his credit, he handled it like a racer. After the race, he said he probably needed to back up just a little and give the 71 more room. He admitted the move, acknowledged the mistake, and gave Andy credit for capitalizing. No excuses. Then he said something that probably summed up the day better than anything else. He called it the greatest race he had ever been part of in his life. He praised his team, thanked everyone involved, and then dropped the perfect Cleetus line, saying it was probably the most fun he had ever had with clothes on. That response mattered, because it showed growth. It showed someone who understood the moment, understood the mistake, and still recognized how huge the bigger picture was. He started 20th. He was second by halfway. He led his first career ARCA laps. He survived the biggest wreck of the day, and he lost by 1/10 of a second. That is not hype. That is progress. Even the people who love doubting him are running out of easy arguments. Then came another moment that made the whole thing even bigger. Carson Hocevar. After the race, Carson was seen talking to Cleetus and basically telling him straight up, "You are going to win one of these." Not as a joke, not for cameras, real respect. He told him the crowd reaction when he took the lead was insane. Said it felt like the whole place exploded. Told him there was no doubt in his mind that Cleetus was going to be just fine doing this. That says a lot, because when drivers inside the sport react like that, it means your run is being taken seriously. This was no longer look at the YouTube guy. This became one of the biggest stories of the day. And with nearly 200,000 people watching the ARCA race live on YouTube, the attention was enormous. So now the big question becomes, what comes next? The next confirmed ARCA start for Cleetus is Nashville Superspeedway on May 30th, where he will return with Richard Childress Racing in the number 33 Chevrolet. That is important, because now this Talladega near win rolls directly into another chance to prove this was not a one-off moment. It becomes the next step, the next test, the next chance to silence even more doubters. And honestly, that is the biggest takeaway from this entire weekend. Yes, it was heartbreak. Yes, he is probably going to replay that final corner in his head 100 times. Yes, losing by 0.111 seconds will sting for a long time. But this was also the strongest answer yet to everyone who said he did not belong. He did not just show up. He did not just survive. He almost won Talladega, and that changes everything.